Good morning, dear students. Now, today we will start with Chapter 12 Organic Chemistry, some basic principles and techniques. So, let us first of all understand the introduction portion. Chemical compounds are classified in major two categories, that is, the organic compounds and inorganic compounds. Organic compounds are those compounds which are available from living things. Means the source of organic compounds is living things. And inorganic compounds are those compounds which are available from non-living things. And they are generally available from under the earth's crust. So source of inorganic compound are the earth crust. That means the minerals and ores which we are getting from the earth crust. Certain salts also are the inorganic compounds, or we can say most of all the salts are inorganic, such as sodium chloride, copper sulfate, magnesium chloride, calcium chloride, barium sulfate, magnesium sulfate. All these salts, they are inorganic, right? And the organic compounds are carbohydrates, fats, proteins, fuels, DNA, and many more. But the source of organic compounds from living things was overruled in 1828. Before this, it was only the plants and animals which were having in them carbohydrates, fats, proteins, right? And the plants giving us the fuel in the form of wood and all. So they were considered as the organic compounds. But in 1828, this concept of living things only consist organic compounds was overruled as F. Waller synthesized the first organic compound. Synthesized, that means made in the laboratory. So first organic man-made compound was urea, formed from the inorganic compound. So for the formation of the organic compound urea, inorganic compound was used, that is ammonium cyanate, and it gave, on heating it rearranged itself and gave the urea. So behind this idea, actually the idea was of Berzelius, right? So who was the another? Not only Waller, but after Waller, Kolbe and even Berthelot. Kolbe in 1845 synthesized acetic acid and Berthelot synthesized methane. So organic compounds are the compounds containing oxygen, carbon and hydrogen. So from this all studies and from the different ideas of different scientists, it was kept in forth that those compounds which contains oxygen, carbon and hydrogen are organic compounds, except carbonates, bicarbonates, cyanides and isocyanides. See, when we say carbonates, it is CO3, right? Bicarbonate is HCO3. Though both of them is having hydrogen, oxygen and carbon, but they are not considered as a organic compounds. And cyanides, they are CN, and isocyanides, they are also CN with O. So they are also not member of the organic group, right? Carbohydrates, if we see, then they are a complex. Organic compounds are complex. Carbohydrates are one of some examples I have given here. C12H22O11. It is the sucrose, that is the table sugar which we eat. C6H12O6 is the glucose which is produced in the plants. They are also complex. You see how large number of carbon and hydrogen and oxygens are there, right? Methane, CH4, which is also a biogas. Fuels like petroleum, kerosene, LPG, CNG, diesel, these are also hydrocarbons, that is the carbohydrates. Then not only carbohydrates, also the proteins are the organic compounds, but they are the highly molecular compounds. Proteins are the highly molecular compounds. Proteins are also considered as complex compounds because they are highly molecular and their molecular mass is very high. They are also considered as building blocks organic compounds. You know that in your younger classes you have learned proteins are useful in building our body. They are useful in the growth of our body, and so they are termed as building blocks organic compounds, right? So as I told that Kolbe, Wöhler, as well as Berthelot, they got the idea of synthesizing the organic compound. But how it was possible? So, from all this study of few organic compounds, it was found that all organic compounds basically consist of carbon as one of the compound. Then why carbon and not any other? So, for these Berzelius, a Swedish chemist, if you have remembered, Berzelius was the one who has given the abbreviation form of symbols of 118 elements, right? Otherwise, before Berzelius, Dalton has given it in the circular figures. Berzelius was the one who suggested that to draw all the time symbols of the element is time consuming, and so he gave the idea of writing the alphabets as a symbol of the elements. So these Berzelius from the Sweden, has again first proposed a vital force, that it is the force which is making the compound of the living organisms as the organic one. And then he also proposed some characteristic of carbon. Because of that characteristic, carbon is one of the member of the organic compound, which helps for the characterized complex organic compound formation. So what is that vital force? The synthesis of organic compounds inside the plants and animals needed a mysterious force. Mysterious force, that means a force which is very, very important. And that is why it is called vital force, an important force. And the theory behind it is called vital force theory. Berzelius proposed that carbohydrates, proteins, fats, which are in the plants and animals' body, should be synthesized by some force, and his idea was first studied by Wöhler by the reaction shown here. Is just now I have shown, but before the cyanide, what was that substance which gave first the cyanide? So Wöhler reacted the first synthesized organic compound urea by the reaction of ammonium sulfate with potassium cyanide, and on reaction of these two, ammonium cyanide was formed, which was further heated, and the rearrangement of ammonium cyanide took place as NH2CONH2. Why the heating was necessary? Because cyanide is not the member of organic compound. I just told carbonates, bicarbonates, cyanide, isocyanides are not organic compounds. So heating was necessary, which can break the bond of CN and can give the bond of CO. So why this urea is termed as organic compound? Because of the presence of carbon oxygen bond, right? So electronic configuration in ground state is 1s2, 2s2, 2p2. 4 electrons in the valence orbit. But now we know the idea of Poe principle, Pauli's principle, Hund's principle, that the last orbit should completely half filled or completely full filled. So in excited state, it will be 2s1, 2p3, sp3 hybridization, right? So now it is completely half filled. And as possibility of 4 unpaired electron are there, so 4 unpaired electron are there to give 4 bonds, and that is why it is tetravalent. Here 4 unpaired electrons in valence orbit and 4 means tetra. Therefore carbon is tetravalent. This means carbon can form 4 bonds with the same elements, means with the carbon itself or with the different elements. Thus, carbon was helpful with tendency of 4 bonds at a time in organic compound. And because organic compounds are very complex like carbohydrates, proteins, they need such element which can give maximum bonds. And this is the first proof that it is tetravalent and so it is the member of organic compound. The other property is or the characteristic is catenation. Carbon has tendency to link with itself and form long chain organic hydrocarbons. This self-linking is termed as catenation. Self-linking, that means one carbon can bond itself to another, another can bond with third, third can bond with fourth, and like a long chain is possible by the carbon linking, self-linking. That property is catenation. The first hydrocarbon, that is the first organic hydrocarbon compound, is methane, CH4, where solo carbon is present. Solo, that means a single carbon. Rest of others are having more than one carbon. After methane, catenation of carbon starts. Catenation, that means self-linking of carbon starts, and not many organic compounds are formed. So, the formation of organic compounds are represented in a different ways. Let us see the representation of organic compounds. The organic compounds are represented by different ways as Lewis dot structure, dash structure, condensed structure and bond line structure. Right? You know about the dash and dot structure. Condensed structure also you know how to write, but now today we will come to know. Yes, this is called condensed structure. So only the new thing is to learn is about bond structure. And then how to give the name, nomenclature, IUPAC rules. Some of the IUPAC rules I have given you in 10th standard. I have helped you out how to give the name, how to count the single chain from where the number is given. So here we will learn the rest of the rules also. So the single dash suggests single bond, double dash suggests double bond, and triple dash suggests the triple bond. We know the family alkane, alkene and alkyne. Hydrocarbons, again 10 standard to recall. Saturated hydrocarbons are alkane and unsaturated hydrocarbons are alkene and alkyne. Saturated, that means no more hydrogen or is added. If we want to add something else, we need to replace hydrogen. That is alkane. And alkene and alkyne are unsaturated. There is presence of double bond. So here is an example of single bond and it is ethane. Ethane, it means 2 carbon, right? Methane is only one having 1 carbon. Then others start self-linking. You can see this carbon is linked with itself, carbon, carbon. So such type of linking is called catenation. Now ethane is C2H6, so CH3, CH3, single bond. Ethene double bond, CH2 double bond, carbon, CH2. Right? In the same way, ethine is having 3 triple bond, C triple bond C, and here CH, CH. So this is single, double and triple bond. That is the alkane, alkene and alkyne family. Now let us see some representation of organic compound in different forms. So first is the Lewis dot structure, that is methane. If we say then, we know now that carbon is having 4 unpaired electrons. So this cross suggests the 4 electrons of carbon. And it is linked with 4 hydrogen, where hydrogen is having 1 electron with each, which is unpaired. So 1 of hydrogen, 1 with carbon. Likewise, 4 bonds are possible. This is the dot structure of the methane. One more is given here is of propane. You can see carbon with cross hydrogen, carbon, hydrogen, carbon, hydrogen. Same here CH2. Here CH3. 1, 2, 3 carbon. So 3 carbon, so propane. And you see catenation property, linking of carbon to carbon. Right? Okay. So this is the Lewis dot structure. Now this is dash structure. Dash, that means instead of dots we will put here dash. So this is the bond CH4, 4 carbon hydrogen bonds. Here you can see CH3, CH, 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 CH2, CH3. All the terminals, whenever the carbon is having last position, whether on the left hand side, right hand side, it will always consist 3 hydrogen if no other element is joined with it, or no functional group is joined with it. That also you know about the functional group, right? 5 functional group we have learned in 10th standard. Alcohol, acetic acid, right? If you remember, ethyl, ester. We will learn few more here also. Condensed structure. Condensed, that means which is all together. So this is written CH4, condensed. No bond is shown either in a dot or a dash structure. This is called condensed structure. Here also you see no bond, just CH3, CH2, CH3. And the fourth structure which is new for us, this we know now. Condensed structure, dash structure, dot structure we know. But the new thing which we are going to learn is bond line structure. So bond line structure of propane I have shown here. You can see this is the bond line structure. Just this type of open triangle. This is the bond line structure of propane. These terminals suggest carbon and joint also suggests the carbon. Terminal always suggests CH3 group if there is no other functional group or element joined. So these are the two terminals which show methyl group, and the joints is the carbon, and here it will be considered 1H and here will be 1H. So CH3, CH3, CH2 propane, right? We will learn more about it, but this is just the introduction portion. Some features of dash structures and bond line structures represent here are: dash structures can be just a long chain or it may be a branch chain, right? See, I have given one pentane. It may be a just long chain. Carbon, 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 carbon. Pentane, that means 5 carbon. You can see here. Both terminals are CH3, CH3 and rest of are CH2, CH2, CH2. This is long chain. You can't see any branch over anything. You see all carbon in a linear form. But here you see 1, 2, 3, 4 carbon in a linear and one is here, branch is there, right? So such type of form are called branch chain, and it can be shown in a condensed form also. You can see all carbon in a linear structure and one carbon, here you see 4 in a linear, one is branched. So this is condensed, long chain and branch chain. Clear? Now what about the bond line? Bond line structure is represented in a zigzag line which shows carbon and hydrogen bonds. Here it is shown. I will explain you just now. And the terminals show CH3 group. Joints will show carbon with appropriate hydrogen. And the only atoms shown in return form are oxygen, nitrogen, chlorine or some other functional group if present in a compound. So here I have given one example of 3-chloropentane. Now see again pentane, so 5 carbon and chlorine is there, chloro, and 3-chloropentane. So 3 chlorine is on third position of pentane group. So actually what it will be, pentane, so let us see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 carbon, CH3, CH3, CH2, CH2, and here it is 3 chloro. So one side chloro and one side is hydrogen. As I told here, terminals will be CH3, joints will show carbon with appropriate hydrogen, and only atoms shown in a return are other than carbon and hydrogen. So here carbon hydrogen is not shown. In return form only chlorine will be returned. Clear? So actually what are this? See here. CH3, CH2, CHCl. Because one side Cl, so it will be H here. CH2 and CH3. So this is about the introduction. More practice also we will learn, with the rules, how to give the name, how to draw the structure, and varieties of name with varied organic compounds also we are going to learn in this chapter. Okay? Thank you.